Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you all? We all are very good here. Hi. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you all? We all are doing great, and today I'm back with another episode of 100 Vlogs at Sea series. I'm very excited to be shooting this, but for a change today I'm doing a Q&A session. I'm going to answer one of the questions that my subscribers has been asking for a very long time. What are the expenses of a family carriage, or what expenses should we predict when we plan to sail together? So this is the question I'm going to be answering today with exact figures of how much we spent when we plan to go on a family carriage, during the application process, during the flight travel, and the agency fees, and everything will be covered in this episode. So stay tuned. This video might be very useful for you. In future, you might plan to sail with your husband, and I don't want you to have any surprises at the end. So I have my laptop over here in which I have noted down all the figures referring to our passport, our CDC, and all other documents, flight tickets and all that, so that I can give you my honest answers and the exact figures. So I'm going to be looking at the laptop now and then. Don't be confused. Now let's start with the video. So I have sailed twice with my husband. The first time was for 2 months and the second time was also for 2 months. So returning back to India was totally unexpected for me both the times, and I returned to India just 2 months back. This is April, right? I returned at the end of December, I guess. I'm not sure. So it's been January, February, March, April. It's been 4 months now, and my husband returned 1.5 months back, 2 months after me. So all the details that I'm going to give you now was from the first trip. I'm not considering anything from the second trip. It will be almost the same, just that the amount will differ here and there because the countries to which we traveled were different, so the flight costs were different. So only those minor differences will be there, but other than that, more or less it's the same. So I'll give you the figures only from my first trip. Okay, so during my first trip, my husband first went sailing. He joined his ship, and only after 1 month we were allowed to join him. So before my husband could travel, all this was informed to him that he has to join the ship first, and only after a month his company will be sending us. We agreed to that. Only then we planned the travel. So before he could leave the country, we had to apply for yellow fever vaccination, which is very important. My husband was already vaccinated, so me and my son had to be vaccinated. This yellow fever vaccination is valid for an entire lifetime. All the details about this yellow fever vaccination, when it has to be taken, where it has to be taken, and how much it costs, and the validity, and the center where we went and had the vaccination, all this is covered in a vlog style video, and I've uploaded it in my Tamil channel. I didn't upload this in my English channel. I somehow missed it, and I didn't find the time as well. But before we could go sailing, I managed to somehow shoot a video in Tamil and upload it in my Tamil channel. So the link will be given in the description box. If you can understand Tamil, you can go check it out. So that is a very informative video, guys. Everything about yellow fever vaccination was told there, so do not forget to check that out. So we went for the yellow fever vaccination and we completed it. That was mandatory and it was very important. So the first step was over, and before we could plan for this total family carriage, we wanted to really have a budget. We didn't want to spend all the money that we have, or we didn't want to go in for surprises. So we had a lot of planning before that. We had a good conversation between me and my husband. So we were actually thinking if this family carriage was worth it. What if we go for a foreign trip? Maybe we'll enjoy that more. And a lot of sailors don't take their family on board because they feel foreign trips are better, because they don't have the work stress. When we go on foreign trips, they can completely look after their wife and child. So many sailors think that foreign trips are better than family carriages, but there are also a lot of sailors who think that family carriages are better than foreign trips. So we were actually discussing about all this, and we were actually predicting and having some amount of money in our mind. So we said, okay, so this is the maximum amount of money we will be spending on a family carriage. It is definitely a little more than foreign trips, but this will be worth it. We'll be getting to, spend a lot of time on the ship than foreign trips. So we were convinced that the family carriage was worth it, and we went ahead with it. Okay. So the initial amount of money that we had in mind was 4 lakhs. We thought max to max, whatever be the situation, whatever be the expenses, we will not spend more than 4 lakhs. That is the total budget that we decided upon, was 4 lakhs. Okay, so now coming to the actual expenses that we faced. My husband left the country and he joined in some other country, and after a month his ship was coming to Canada, exactly after a month, and we were told that we can join him in Canada because we already had Canadian visa. So coming to the visas, okay, so even before he could go sailing, after the yellow fever vaccination, the next mandatory thing was to apply for visas. So US visa is a must, guys. Wherever the ship goes or wherever you go to join the ship, all that does not matter at all. But if you want to go on a family carriage, then US visa is a must. Your company will first ask you to apply for US visa. So for the US visa, I remember we had applied. You have to pay the fee amount. The fee amount was 14,000 per person. For me it was 14,000, and for my son who was less than 2 years old, it was 14,000 for him. That's the most paining part, you know. For everything we had to pay double the cost because my son was also there. So if you don't have a child and if you get an opportunity to sail along with your husband, this is the right time to sail. You will save a lot of money and you will enjoy more. Since I had a child with me who was less than 2 years old, you know, I had more of this motherly responsibilities on board. I had to look after him most of the time, and I could not leave him and go anywhere. I could not go watch the sunrise in the morning. I could not go watch the sunset in the evening, leaving him in the room. So if he's sleeping at that time, then I will be in the room. So I will not go out to watch the sunrise. So all these difficulties I faced on board. But leaving all that aside, coming to the expenses, you will have extra expenses if you are going to sail with a child. So US visa costed us 28,000, and then Canada visa, I think Canada visa costed us about 14,000, I guess. No, Canada visa costed us 17,000 totally, me and for my son, and Brazilian visa costed us 12,000, both for my son and myself. So the total visa cost alone came to 60,000 because his company could not predict where the ship will be going after Brazil, but they had an idea that the ship is going to Canada from US, and from Canada the ship was going to Brazil. From Canada to Brazil, the total traveling days was about 40 days or something, close to 40 days, I'm not sure. And it crossed the Magellan Strait also, so it was a beautiful passage to cross, and the entire sailing stretch was really beautiful. So that is why his company also asked us to join in Canada so we can sail to Brazil. So this route was really beautiful, and we were also happy that, you know, we were able to see the Magellan Strait, because Magellan Strait is like one of the wonders in the world. Though it was not declared as a wonder, it is really like one of the wonders in the world, guys. If you are rich enough to book a cruise and visit the Magellan Strait, then please do it. It is highly expensive, but it is worth watching, and we got to experience that on our first trip, so I'm really happy about that. So now that the yellow fever vaccination is over and the visas are applied and paid for, so that is over. So the next expense is the medical checkup. So the medical checkup has to be done for every sailor before he could leave for sailing. Every time it has to be done, even if he's going to sail in less than 6 months, then also it has to be done. His company has got a tie-up with a particular medical center where we were asked to go and do all the medical checkup. So they'll be testing the child for fever, cold and any other underlying condition. For the baby it was basically nothing. They just checked his height, weight and his normal body temperature. That's it. They didn't trouble the baby much. As for me, the first test that they did was pregnancy test. So only after the pregnancy test comes negative, they will even consider to let you sailing. So that is very, very important. So the pregnancy test will be done and all other basic checkups will be done. Your urine will be taken and all other basic checkups and high blood pressure and sugar levels. I think it will be done. I'm not sure. So I just gave my blood sample and urine sample and they gave me the test result for pregnancy and for other basic things. And I also went to a doctor for a checkup. The doctor was there at the medical center itself. They tested my eyesight and then they tested my ears also, I guess, and then they asked me to read a book with jumbled letters and jumbled colors and all that. So I underwent all that, and he asked me a few basic questions. He asked me if mine was a normal delivery or a C-section, and if I underwent any other operation, or is there any underlying medical condition in my family like heart attack or something, because they do not want to take any chances when they are sending you on board. Because if something happens to you on board suddenly, if you get a heart attack, what will they do? There are no hospitals nearby, there are no doctors on board, only the sailors are the doctors there. So whatever they know, they'll do, but other than that, nothing can be done. And a helicopter had to be brought in case of an emergency. All this is a big hassle for the company and for us. So all these medical tests are taken very seriously, and this is done. And for this, I think for me we paid $2,000, and for my child we paid $1,000 for the medical test.